Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video I'll be sharing a requested tutorial from my group on how to draft this deep plunging neckline corset with a yoke placement technique. This corset is also from abbaswoman.ng. So if this is something you like, please don't forget to hit on the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up. So let's dive right into today's video. So to start, I'll go ahead and mark out my basic measurements first. So here is my shoulder to bust, my shoulder to under bust, my shoulder to waistline, and for the dress length or blouse length I added 5 inches. So for your blouse length you can use 4 inches or 5 inches for the length. This is an inbuilt corset. Unless the person's stomach is a bit big, you can use 6 inches, but 4 or 5 inches is the best. So I went ahead to mark a basic neckline of 3 by 3 inches, and I'll go ahead to place my ruler to connect. After this, the next step you want to take is to mark your shoulder. Now I'm going to mark my shoulder divided by 2, and I'm going to come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope. And also remember that this dress has an extension at the sleeve also. So next I'll go ahead to place my ruler and I will draw out a shoulder slope. So to get your chest line here is to mark your bust circumference divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches. Mine is 7 inches and I made a mark at that point. Now on that same chest line, I'll mark my shoulder divided by 2 again. Now I'll place the ruler and draw a straight line. This is to make sure that these points correspond. The next point is to go ahead and divide what you have at this point to draw your armhole curve. Come in by ½ inch at that point. Here I'll mark my bust circumference divided by 4, and I will connect my curve drill from that point all the way to the armhole and to the upper part of my dress. So after I'm done marking this out, I'm going to go ahead to work on the lower part of the dress. I'll start by marking my nipple to nipple divided by 2. And my nipple to nipple is 7 inches divided by 2, which is 3.5. I'll mark this all the way to the lower part of this dress. After I'm done marking, I'll go ahead to place my ruler and I will draw out a straight line connecting all those marks. After connecting, you want to go ahead and divide your shoulder into 2, the remaining part of your shoulder apart from your neckline, and you're going to connect to the upper part. So the next step is to mark my dart intake. I'll be marking 1 inch on both sides. So if you're plus size, go ahead to use 1.5 inches on both sides, meaning you'll be having a 3 inches dart. Mine is a 2 inches dart. If you're also busty, you should also consider using that also. Now I'm going to connect from the bust down to the under bust, and also repeat this at the other side of my pattern. After I'm done doing this, I'll go ahead to come up by 2 inches, or you can use 1.5 inches. Just use any point that it is okay for you. I marked 1.5, but I'll still go ahead to adjust it. So at the shoulder I'll be using a 1 inch dart. Why I'm using a 1 inch dart there is I don't want to have too much gaping, and so that my corsets will sit very well, especially because we are having an extension at the shoulder part of this dress. So I'll go ahead and I will use my marker to outline this to make it more visible for you to see. So from this point you want to measure the dart intake you have there, and at this side we'll be inserting our body measurement. So because this dress is an inbuilt corset, you don't want to have too much allowance there. Go ahead to mark your bust circumference divided by 4. Measure the ½ inch dart intake you have here. So it's best to have about ½ inch or 1 inch dart intake at the side, at the upper part of your inbuilt corset, to avoid having excess at the side, and then go ahead to add ½ inch for sewing allowance. You don't need more than ½ inch for this pattern. Go ahead to work for the under bust. Mark your under bust circumference divided by 4. Measure the dart intake we place, and you are going to add ½ inch to this. Now you move over to the waistline and you want to snatch your waistline. Now I'll be taking out 4 inches from the waistline. You can take 3 to 4 inches. So my waistline is 28 inches. Taking out 4 inches from it, I have 24. So that 24 inches, I'll divide it by 4 now and I will mark. So I'm just using this because it's the easiest way, and I'll go ahead to replace the dart intake and add my ½ inch sewing allowance. So here I'll mark my hip circumference divided by 4. go ahead and measure these 2 inches that intake, and you will replace it by the side and add ½ inch. So for the waistline, the reason why I marked my measurement directly is because I don't want to have any slashing or that intake by the side to snatch my waist. I want to this pattern to come out as one piece. So when you're making a transparent corset, it is easier and faster to have just one piece for your corset base. So I'll go up by 2 inches here and connect it to the lower part of my pattern. You can also create like a little design at this point. So this is what I have. I'll just go up a bit when I'm marking this out. So now we're going to go ahead to mark our bust dart for this pattern. So to get your bust dart is the difference between your shoulder to waist in front and your shoulder to waist at the back. My shoulder to waist in front is 17 inches. My shoulder to waist at the back is 15.5, giving me a difference of 1.5 inches, which I marked and connected to the pattern or the bust part of my pattern. And I'll go ahead to shade this out. So the next step I want to take now is to go ahead to draw out my cup. So I'll be coming down by ½ inch. After that, I'll come in by 1 inch at the bust side, and I will come down by 2.5 or 3 here. Just make use of what is suitable for you. Now I'll be connecting these points this way. After I'm done connecting, you want to draw out your cup connecting from the bust to the under bust. So after connecting this, I was not okay with what I have here, so I'll go ahead to readjust later. Now you want to pick a point at your cup. That is where you want your cup to start. Just go ahead and use what is okay for you. I used 2 inches. So if you're plus size or you're a bit busty, you should consider using 2 inches or 2.5 so that it will cover your bust very well. If not, if you want your cup to be revealing, you just go ahead to make use of what you want. So I went ahead to reconnect the lower part of my cup just like I said. And next, from here, I will connect. Looking at the shape we have on the thumbnail, I'll just try to recreate that shape. Connect from this point to that upper part, and then I'll be taking this to the side of my pattern. So if you don't want to recreate the shape we have there, just go ahead and do what works for you. So after I'm done marking this, there are different ways of marking your cup at the side. Is either you come in by 1 inch after your bust circumference divided by 4, or from your armhole to your bust circumference divided by 4, divide what you have there by 2, or from your bust or nipple to nipple point, mark your nipple to nipple divided by 2 plus half. So I like using my nipple to nipple divided by 2 plus half, or I'll divide what I have at the armhole to the bust circumference by 2. Most times you get the same result. So I'll go ahead and I will reconnect my cup. So now if you notice from the video, at this part of the corset, the yoke went down by ½ inch and connected to the side. So I'll just go ahead and reconnect my cup this way. So this is what I have on this side. You can just blend in your cup or leave it that way. Now I'll just go in with my marker to outline the rest of my pattern. So at this point, if you find this tutorial very interesting and educative, please don't forget to hit on the subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and also leave your question at the comment section. And if you also want to join our group, you can also indicate at the comment section. So now from this point, I'll come down by 1 inch, or I'll be using 1.5 later. So I'm trying to create like a 3-part corset here. I marked 2 inches. So when you're making your cup a 3-part corset, you want your cup to be curvy, especially if you're doing a bust caging. This will help your cup sit very well, but if your cup is very straight, your cup will come out flat. So I'll connect from here to the side of my cup this way, and this is what I have. I'll just go in with my marker and I will outline this part of my cup, and I will also go ahead to blend the side dart much later. Go ahead to label your cup, so the upper part will be serving as 1 cup or one design at the upper part. So all these measurements or this drafting I have here, I'll also repeat it on the other side. So now this 1 inch that we took out on the shoulder, I'll replace it. Mark that point. After marking that 1 inch, you're going to mark a shoulder slope of 1 inch and blend it in. Go ahead also to blend in your dart. So the extension we have at the shoulder is about 3 inches. So just go ahead and slope your tape a bit and mark 3 inches. That is, after marking the 1 inch dart intake that we took out, you're going to mark extra 3 inches. The extension should be about 2.5 to 3 inches. So I'll just mark that out, and from there you want to extend it also back to the armhole this way. So you're just going to extend it and make sure that it blends. So this is another reason why your client should come for fitting for this dress, especially at the shoulder. So if the yoke part is not blending in very well, you can go ahead and tighten it when you are doing the placement on the corset dress. So I'll just go ahead and mark this out, and all these parts, all these darts, I'll just shade it out, and I will repeat the same process at the other side of my pattern. So after this, you want to go ahead to blend in your dart, and you're going to take the measurement you have from that point to your neckline, and you're going to take note of that because you are going to be using it to cut the back pattern also. So I'll just go ahead and I will cut this out, and I've already gone ahead to also remark this measurement on the other side. So also by the side, you're going to be blending this in this way, and you're going to cut it out. After cutting it out, the next step is to blend in these darts on the yoke so that it will match with what you have on the dress. And I will go in with my sellotape and I will hold it down. So after holding it down, I'll just go ahead and use my scissors to cut this out. So this is what I have, and I'll go ahead to cut out the rest of my pattern also. So while cutting, I'll also extend my cup or blend in the dart, and I'll be using a sellotape to hold it. So sorry, this part of this video is a bit fast. I had to do this because it took a long time to film this part. So I'll just go ahead and cut this out. So next, you want to go ahead and tape up the upper part as one. So for this corset illustration, this pattern illustration, I'll be taping up this corset as if we are sewing it. So let's say that we are done cutting out. Remember, you're going to add 1/2 inch all the way around to your cup, and I'll just go ahead to use this tape to sellotape it as if I actually joined my cup or I sewed the dress for this pattern, because we are also going to show how to place the yoke on the dress. So I'll just go in and I'll tape up my cup and also tape the other side of the cup. So if you have any question, please go ahead to also leave your question. So this is how your cup will be looking after you are done sewing or joining it together. So after this, you want to go ahead and tape up this pattern, and you use it to cut out your pattern as one piece. And also remember to add 1/2 inch at the upper part, at the cup, and at the deep neckline. And by the side, you have already added it when we are cutting out. Go ahead also to add at the lower part of this dress. So now, after you're done doing that, let's just assume that you have joined your corset and you have actually sewed the dress. Now you're going to be joining your cup together. You're going to join your cup to the corset as if you're sewing it, or you're actually sewing the dress. So I'll just go ahead and use my tape to hold it down just to illustrate what I mean. So after I'm done taping it, this is what I have. Now you'll be placing your yoke to it. That is after you're done sewing this dress. That's when we are going to do the yoke placement method actually. So this class is more like an advanced corset class. You have to have a basic knowledge of a corset first before this class. So for the back pattern, this is my shoulder to waist, and this is the 5 inches I added. I marked out the basic measurement, and also this back pattern comes in two: the part that has a lacing bar and the part that has a zip. So this is the part that has a lacing bar area. I went ahead to mark my nipple to nipple divided by 2, and I marked. Now I'll be marking my basic darts for it. I'll be marking 1/2 inch on both sides, and I will come down by 1 inch at this point. Go ahead to connect this all the way to that 1/2 inch on both sides, and also extend this all the way to the lower part of your pattern. I'll repeat this at the other side also. So the next step now is to insert your body measurement. Mark your bust circumference divided by 4. Add your sewing allowance of 1/2 inch. Mark your waist circumference that you used for the front. Measure the dart intake, replace and add your sewing allowance. Mark your hip circumference and add your 1/2 inch sewing allowance. Remember, it's the snatched waistline that you're also going to use for the back pattern. So I went up by 2 inches just like I did for the front. So sorry, this part of the video is a bit fast because of time. The video was actually very long. So now I'll be marking the lacing bar area, and I'm using 2 inches. So this is not a constant. You can use what works for you. I came down by 1/2 inch at this point, and I will connect it. So after I'm done doing that, I'll go in with my marker and I will outline. So now remember, at the side of the front we came down by 1/2 inch. I'll also do that for this part. So we'll be replacing it with the other part of the corset that has a zipper. So the back part comes in two. So I'll replace all these measurements at the other side, and I will go ahead to use my scissors to cut this out. So after this, I'll place this together and I'll tape my pattern. So let's say you're making this, you're going to tape your pattern and you're going to use this to cut out one piece for each side. So this will save you the stress of joining back of having separate pattern, joining it and trying to create your lacing bar area. Just go ahead and tape this and use it to cut out your pattern. I'll be posting the continuation of this video much later. The video is actually too long, and trying to save it to my phone is taking time. So I'll be dropping the continuation part of this video in the next video.